If you're interested in mastering your emotions, welcome back to my series answering the most frequently asked questions about healthy emotions. Today, we're going to dive into question number 6. Why do I feel responsible for managing other people's emotions? If you've ever found yourself constantly apologizing or bending to keep someone else calm, this episode is for you. As always, if you want to keep up with this series, I'd really appreciate it if you like this video and subscribed. That way, you'll get notified whenever new videos are uploaded, helping you build awareness and a deeper understanding of your emotions with each episode. This is a question that has completely changed how I show up in my own life. I've spent years trying to control, soothe, or absorb other people's feelings, thinking if I could keep everyone calm, everyone would be safe. But over time, I realized that I was carrying weight that wasn't mine and it was exhausting my nervous system in the process. Through my own healing journey, I learned that feeling responsible for others' emotions isn't actually responsibility. It's a learned habit, a survival pattern, and often tied to how we've been taught to feel worthy or safe. When we feel responsible for others' emotions, it hijacks our nervous system. Every disagreement, frustration, or sadness nearly can feel like your problem to fix. And this pattern quietly steals your energy, your focus, and peace, making it absolutely impossible to fully experience your own emotions. Understanding why this happens and how to shift is the first step towards reclaiming freedom, safety, and clarity inside yourself. Once you do, you can show up for others without losing yourself, and you start building relationships rooted in presence instead of unconscious labor. So, why do I feel responsible for managing other people's emotions? Well, first, it's often tied to self worth. Somewhere along the way, your nervous system learned that if I take care of others, I'll be safe, loved, or accepted. Controlling, soothing, or absorbing emotions can feel safer than facing the uncertainty of letting someone else feel what they feel. This habit usually starts early, maybe with parents, teachers, or peers rewarding you for keeping the peace or minimizing the conflict. And over time, your brain internalizes the belief that your value is directly linked to how well you can regulate the people around you. When this becomes automatic, even small tensions can trigger an urge to step in and fix things. And the more that you do it, the more it becomes invisible. You barely notice you're carrying the weight until it's exhausting. It's also about safety. When someone else's anger or sadness triggers your nervous system, your body reacts as if danger is present. And the fastest shortcut the brain finds is to take responsibility, to fix, smooth over, or prevent conflict because it's easier than sitting in uncertainty or discomfort. You might not even realize that you're doing it. It's a survival pattern. Your nervous system sees other people's emotions as potential threats to your stability, even when logically you know that you're not responsible. That's why it can feel nearly impossible to let go of someone else's frustration or disappointment. And it's not a choice, it's a learned nervous system response. And this constant hypervigilance leaves you drained, anxious, or resentful, even if you're convinced yourself that you're just being a good person. The challenge is that emotions are not yours to carry. Each person's emotions are signals, information about their own inner worlds, not instructions for you to manage. And when you separate what's yours from what's not, you start to create emotional boundaries that actually feel like relief instead of guilt. This isn't about shutting people out or being cold. It's about reclaiming your energy so you can respond from presence rather than fear. Carrying other people's emotions may have felt like love, protection, or responsibility, but in reality, It teaches your nervous system that safety is conditional on your performance. And when you let emotions belong to their rightful owner, you stop the cycle of invisible labor and start feeling freer. You'll notice a kind of weight being lifted off of you, and one small shift at a time as your body stops bracing against emotions that aren't yours. One practical step is noticing the difference between empathy and ownership. Empathy lets you feel someone's experience without merging with it, while ownership happens when you feel like their happiness or calm or validation depends on your actions. And awareness is the first shift. So instead of automatically reacting, pause and ask yourself, is this my emotion or is it theirs? And over time, these pauses will create new habits to your nervous system. Another key point is understanding that stopping the habit of carrying others' emotions is not selfish, it's survival. And when you stop absorbing, soothing, or fixing everyone else, you create space for your nervous system to rest. You create safety inside yourself, which ironically allows you to be present with others in a healthier way. This is where real emotional freedom starts, when you no longer need other people to feel calm or to feel safe. You'll realize that you can still love, support, and connect without sacrificing your own stability. You begin to notice how much energy you reclaim, how much lighter your relationships feel, and how your own emotions just become easier to regulate. And when you stop running on other people's emotional schedules and start start living according to your own. Every time you choose yourself, you teach your nervous system that you are enough without fixing anyone else. Another layer to understand is how uncertainty fuels this habit. And when someone else's emotions feels unpredictable or intense, your nervous system interprets it as threat. Your brain quickly jumps in with solutions, explanations, or attempts to smooth things over because uncertainty feels unsafe. Even small things, a raised voice, a frown, or a tense message, can trigger a rush to manage the situation. But over time, this creates a feedback loop where you're constantly monitoring others' emotional cues as if your survival depends on it. And you start to anticipate moods, internalize tension, and hold yourself responsible for outcomes that are not yours. And recognizing this pattern is crucial because awareness is the first step in reclaiming your calm. And the moment that you notice the urge to intervene before it's needed, you create space to choose differently. Another important piece is how personal boundaries and permission tie into this pattern. Often people don't even realize they need explicit permission to let others feel their own emotions. And the habit of carrying someone else's emotions can start because your nervous system learned that saying no or stepping back could feel unsafe. And over time, this creates a subtle internal rule that if I don't manage their emotions, something bad might happen. And the tricky part is that your nervous system confuses control with care and safety with love. Learning to allow space without guilt teaches your nervous system that safety is available internally, not dependent on other people's moods. This is how boundaries become a form of freedom rather than confrontation or rejection. And you start seeing that letting someone feel frustration, sadness, or disappointment doesn't make you uncaring, it makes you stable. Another layer comes from understanding emotional projection. Sometimes the emotions we feel responsible for are actually reflections of unresolved parts of ourselves. A coworker's anger might trigger your own childhood experiences of criticism, and a friend's disappointment might echo old fears of rejection. But when you catch yourself absorbing someone else's emotions, it can be a sign to look inward. and see what's yours versus theirs. And having this awareness doesn't mean blaming yourself or overanalyzing. It's simply noticing that your nervous system has patterns that resonate with the world around you. The more you can separate projection from feeling responsible, the more you reclaim emotional clarity. And over time, this makes it easier to respond from choice rather than taking on someone else's emotions that aren't yours, and reinforces that your value is not tied to controlling or managing anyone else. Freedom comes from practicing boundaries in real time. It's one thing to understand the theory, it's another to catch yourself mid reaction and allow someone to fully feel their own emotions. To support you in building emotional awareness, I've created a free resource called the Emotional Breakthrough Guide, and I'd love to share it with you today. Inside the Emotional Breakthrough Guide, you'll find step-by-step exercises that help you notice your personal triggers, reflect on emotional patterns behind them, and begin responding in healthier ways. These exercises are designed to fit into your everyday life, so you can start building emotional awareness and control immediately. You can get your free emotional breakthrough guide right now. To do that, you want to click the link in the description below and sign up. And then once you do, you'll receive instant access to the guide so you can begin using it immediately. You can move through it at your own pace and start noticing small but meaningful changes in how we cope emotionally. If this video helped you, I'd really appreciate it if you liked this video, subscribed, and turned on your notifications. That way, you'll be notified of the next video in this 23-part series on healthy emotions, where we continue building the awareness and skills you need for long-term emotional health. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.